It's time for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Join your host, the accomplished Dr. Cherilyn Lee, as she welcomes the leading experts in health and well-being as they explore the advancements in natural health, physical fitness, nutrition, integrative medicine, and self-discovery.
Good day or evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. As always, we have a very exciting show, and not so much exciting as it is edifying. Today's show topic, hidden slow killers. Now think about that, hidden slow killers. We have so many people with so many conditions right now that most doctors can't seem to even diagnose. And I'm sure my guest is getting a ton of the same people as we are at New Wellness Healthcare. And this is caused by things we really cannot see. These are hidden, slow killers that are destroying our brain, our memory, our sleep pattern. It is causing problems and havoc throughout our whole body, our children, from you name it. So we're going to be talking about these hidden killers that are neurotoxicity. And when we say neuro, we're speaking of the brain, the spinal column, anything that's going to affect your neurology of your body, your central nervous system of your body. So we're going to cover some things that you are going to be surprised to hear what is causing so many people to become ill today. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Lu, for being my guest. You are an amazing lady. I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you. Yes. And first of all, you and I met last year. Was it last year? Time is going by so fast.
Yes, it is last year in Phoenix.
Yes, we did. In Phoenix, Scottsdale. We was there at a convention, which was really wonderful. But we want to talk about some things today. And I want first, to let people know, because you're an MD, PhD, and I want people to know a little bit more about your background. If you can kind of tell them briefly here, a little bit about you, because you're a phenomenal lady. And this is you're not a stranger to New Wellness TV. This is your second time, and I thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. So tell people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I was born in China and lived until I was 25 years old. I had an MD at Beijing Medical University. I came to Medical College in Wisconsin and obtained my PhD in human physiology. And afterwards, I went to UCSF and obtained my postdoctoral fellowship training in genetics of hypertension. After that, I decided to come to Mount Shasta and become an internist. And after I came to Mount Shasta, in 1998, I was seeing more and more complicated patients since then. And in the past 20 years, I have seen an accelerated increase of chronic diseases,
yes,
and including myself. So I got ill 14 years ago, and I was searching for a way to find out why I have autoimmune disease. And quickly, I become a passionate speaker for environmental health. So that's just a short, brief introduction.
Okay, wonderful. But the good thing with you, because we initially met in at a convention, conventions that I normally attend and you attend, and you're a fellow and a member of most of all of them. So, and this one is today we're going to discuss on environmental medicine and go a lot deeper, because a lot of people are not aware as to why they're ill. I have a lot of patients that don't know what the cause is. And there's ways now that we can do lab work and find out some things that you could not find out before, which is very powerful. So I am so excited that we're going to be talking about ways that you could not only find out as to why you're ill, but things that we can do to turn it around. So let's get started.
Absolutely. I love to share that with you. I know, Dr. Lee, you and I have been together searching for the environmental cause of the diseases and together integrating into our understanding in genetics. So when I watched a movie called The Living Downstream, and the Living Downstream movie talk about is not what the toxin is that make you ill, is who you are that determine your disease.
Yes.
And for a long, long time, I have seen a lot of healthy people coming down with cancer of the most devastating kind.
Yes.
And especially skinny ones, the skinny, healthy ones, oftentimes actually have much more aggressive cancer. And instead of, some people have more toxin, they gain weight, which is actually protecting them. So what I learned is really the genetic disposition causing the manifestation of what kind of disease. But when I look into the common cause, I am pretty much convinced the common cause is the same, and we just have different presentation. And some people have more devastating, more progressive disease than others. But at the end, the humanity, together with species such as insects, bees, butterflies, birds, our animals, are suffering way ahead of us because they don't have the detox system humans do. So I just want to kind of summarize this picture that our planet is being bombarded with three major things. One of them is agricultural chemicals and chemicals in our life, and led by a chemical called glyphosate. Many people can't even say it right because it's well hidden into all weed killers. The most popular weed killer is currently the number one most sprayed internationally.
Yes.
So that's number one. Agricultural chemicals polluting our air, water, soil, our park, our roadways, our schools, and our water system. So it's something I just really want to, kind of emphasize how common this chemical is. Number two is electromagnetic frequencies. We talk about, we love our cell phone and iPad. It's like a miracle. I can do a Zoom call right before my trip, right, to the airport. But the key thing is the biological effect on our brain is tremendous. So the agricultural chemical, such as glyphosate, in synergy with electromagnetic frequencies, is our brain become more open to the outside environment. So number three is heavy metal. Heavy metal is an old element, but because a lot of the modern practice, such as oil and gas drilling and the fracking, these things are causing a lot of chemicals, heavy metal that's released from deeper part of the earth. Thallium, cesium are common chemicals are found, heavy metal found in irrigation waters. So they start to pollute not only, with the agricultural chemical, but also, organic farms are using some of the water. So we really need to be aware that nobody is clear of toxins.
Yes, and I want to just add, because I know you're on a roll here, but I just want to just add, when we look at toxins and what has happened to, we're finding more and more heavy metal, since you're speaking about heavy metal in implants. So we know the implants have heavy metal. Even the breast implant has some metal there as well. And I'm dealing with a group of people as we relate to the people who are very sick from the breast implants, but more so in removing the breast implants. So there's a lot of heavy metal even attached to that. And then we know people get hip replacement surgery. There's a different type of metal there that's causing havoc in their body. One of the congresswomen said people should sign, you should be able to say, I want this in my body, or I don't want this in my body, because they should be made aware of the side effects from these heavy metals that are going to be put in their body. So, I'm just going to let you go on. But when we look at heavy metals, we look at all the aspects of that as well, especially the implants now.
Yep. So this is our challenge, Dr. Cherilyn Lee, is, we have environmental physicians, we call environmental medicine physicians. And when somebody presents to us, we no longer have to go too wide. We can focus on urine analysis for heavy metal, mold toxins, chemical toxins now. And one of the lab I've been working with, I'm not financially being endorsed at all. I just want everyone to know, Great Plains Lab has offered urine analysis to 172 chemicals and their metabolites and glyphosate for $288. And they can, just the patient can have a urine test done. And yesterday, I talked to a group of women in Mount Shasta because we have been seeing many people are tested. I would say 99% of people I tested for people in Mount Shasta, including myself, are positive for glyphosate.
Yes.
People with Parkinson's disease, ALS, are much higher in glyphosate.
Yes.
Than other chemicals. Okay. So we are doing a national chemical detection survey. We, unfortunately, people have to pay for the toxin test because nobody has money here.
Right.
We have to be responsible for our own toxic load. So glyphosate is 99.9% positive in all people in the United States we have tested so far. Thank you so much. So glyphosate is really a chemical that's made of glycine add with a phosphorus group. Okay. Yes. Biochemically, is mimicking glycine, which most people can understand. Our proteins are made with many amino acids.
Yes.
It just happened glycine is one of the most important one. It's highly conserved in the polypeptide of making the protein.
Yes.
Now, many people say, well, what is the protein? Well, protein is your muscle, your collagen, your enzymes, your biochemical, processing require protein. We don't make things happen with fat and sugar. Sugar give you energy, but protein is the one that controls every single biochemical reaction. So when the protein is deformed, such as insulin receptors, when insulin receptors are deformed, what happened with the insulin? It doesn't work. So we develop massive insulin sensitivity. And of course, people in the dietary industry try to say, try to limit the sugar intake, which is a good idea, but they are not thinking what's happening with the insulin receptor.
Exactly.
Because I recently diagnosed a man, he's a bicyclist, he's really, exercising, eating healthy. He developed type 2 diabetes. What we found is he was loaded with glyphosate, and that was blocking his insulin receptor. The insulin receptor is deformed. So it's a really interesting phenomenon. Now, glyphosate also is patented in 2010 as an antibiotic. I'm sure everybody will be shocked because, we thought it was just a weed killer, but it's actually antimicrobial. And glyphosate can kill the microbiomes. Now, everybody is talking about prebiotic, probiotic, how to restore your microbiome.
Exactly.
But very few people ask the question, well, what happened to our 9 trillion microbiome that we have all along?
Years.
It's because they are being killed. So that's the second patent. The first patent is actually a metal chelator. The second patent is a herbicide. The third patent is a microbiome killer called antimicrobial. The fourth patent, glyphosate holds. It's called the biocide. Biocide means is non-compatible with biology, right? So why do we want to have biocide sprayed in our garden? People say, well, it's just my gardener spraying outside, right?
And then on the grass at the schools, all this, and they're spraying on the schools.
Yeah.
And I just like to add something right there because of them spraying in the schools. I had met with a couple of ladies, and one of the ladies there said her daughter just had gone off to college. And she said she was healthy when she left. And I said, now she has leukemia. And I said, is she playing any outdoor sports where she's on the grass? And she said, yes, she is. And that's when she was diagnosed. So now we know there's a big, a lawsuit that was won based on this situation as well. But, I tell people, we have to watch our kids playing on the grass at schools and all these things that are happening. And then the things that help to modify it and intensified in our body, and that's the EMFs. So everything, we just have to be very careful. That's why we started off with a different title of the show, things that we don't see, touch, smell, all these things that are playing havoc in our body. But I want you to kind of go on there. But I just want to let people know that if you're on the grass a lot or playing sports on grass, you want to really start doing the tests. We also offer the tests ourselves from the same lab, which is really wonderful. So we'll be joining in your research there and putting it all together. Not only just the research and putting it together, but also helping people to heal through this journey. So yeah. I thank you for being here and sharing this today.
Thank you, Dr. Cherilyn Lee. One of the things I always felt, when I was a physician, I was looking at all these patients, and I realized people sometimes hear somebody have cancer or have autoimmune or Parkinson. They just somehow feel sorry for other people. Mm-hmm. And they always think that's other people's business, have nothing to do with us. Yes. I'm a plant-based physician. I really recommending people eat more fiber, more kidney, liver-friendly food, which are vegetable. Mm-hmm. But then one day I got a phone call from Hawaii. This is a very recent thing. And the beautiful woman is a 50 years old, 50-year committed vegan. And she has been eating healthy food, just doing everything she can. And she came down with stage 4 ovarian.
Yes.
And the number one, question I'm concerned is why these healthy people are getting cancer.
Exactly.
Non-healthy people, they deserve to do a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. But why there's so many healthy people? We have in Mount Shasta alone, we have yoga teacher, we have qigong teacher, massage therapist coming down with ovarian cancer and breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And we cannot just, turn our head and say, mm-hmm. well, did you hear so-and-so? Well, it's time to find out what's wrong.
Yeah, the cause. So, we want to know the cause and the origin.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Instead of judging those people, mm-hmm. I recently met a beautiful environmental epidemiologist and toxicologist. Her name is Deborah Davis. I think Dr. Cherilyn Lee will connect with her.
Yes,
and
I will.
She said, when you have cancer, you ask yourself, what's wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve cancer, right?
Yes.
In her book, The Secret History of the War Against Cancer, she said, not a darn thing if you're being poisoned by environmental poisons.
Exactly.
That is visible, odorless, colorless. You got to start testing for it.
Yes.
One of the things I realize is most people want to know what to do when they have a diagnosis instead of asking why. Exactly. And we all do that. 14 years ago, I had allergy, asthma. I was having fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. I was emotionally unstable, clearly bipolar. I just didn't want to give myself the diagnosis.
I know.
And at that time, right, we just kind of blame ourselves and seeking this treatment. But then when I look back, the agriculture pollutants, many of them are neurotoxins. People say, what is neurotoxin? Well, neurotoxin disturb the neurotransmitter balance. Many people have addiction. They blame themselves. They go into rehab and they don't understand it's a neuroinflammatory reaction to reality. Yesterday, I spoke to Dr. James Seeberger. He works in Kansas City in the emergency room. He said, Dr. Lu, there's really just two things. One of them is neurotoxicity. Number two is neuroreactivity. So if your brain is toxic with these neurotoxins, such as aluminum, mercury, heavy metal, right? At the same time, you have glyphosate in the brain, replacing the calming glycine, right? You are having a neurotransmitter inflammation.
Yeah, so it crosses the blood-brain barrier that way.
Blood-brain barrier.
Yes.
Well, they find out by experiment. They spray the glyphosate in the poor little rat's nose. And then they measure the neural activity of the rats. They found out they all exhibit increase of anxiety level. And then they also find the increase of glutamate. Everybody heard about glutamate in the brain. Well, the glutamate level went up. So the brain has a profound increase of neuroexcitatory neurotransmitter. What about the other neurotransmitter? The GABA decreases when we have lots of stress. We have no serotonin. Serotonin goes down. A lot of people didn't understand the serotonin is also produced in the gut. So when the microbiomes are dead and we don't produce enough serotonin and we don't produce enough dopamine,
yes.
So what happened is glutamate become dominant. And you can imagine when somebody is always on the stress glutamate inflammation, what happened to the brain? They're very reactive, very negative. I talked to a man, a chiropractor from the Mill Valley area. He said, Dr. Lu, I don't know why people are so nasty to each other. Why can't we love each other and support each other and stop being alone? And I said, well, if your brain is very inflamed, how you're going to treat people they're giving you love?
Yes.
You're just reacting with the self-insecurity, and people don't love each other. They can't form a community, and they don't even know why they should live this life. So I think it's such a profound impact.
And because you have so much information, I know, but I just had several calls last week where people said, I don't know why, I'm not going to commit suicide, but I just don't want to be here anymore. And this is all because, and also kind of going back a little bit, if you don't mind, I had 2 calls from someone that was very angry because they said, how could my relative have stage 4 cancer and they were vegan? They were vegan. Yep. How could this happen? They were vegetarian and vegan and they have stage 4 cancer. They were very, very upset and did not know the why. Yep. So I'm so glad that you're bringing that out today, and we will, before the show ends, show as to why that is happening. So I just wanted to kind of interject that, if you don't mind, while we're speaking here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So today, I was looking into why vegans, and of course, not just vegan, we see so many, 1 out of 2 people have cancer, very few are vegan. But my question is, why vegans? Some of them don't understand lentils, chickpeas, oatmeals are one of those food groups are tested really high in glyphosate. Yes. If they're conventionally grown, they have been sprayed for harvesting.
Yes.
So this is the modern agriculture in unbelievable state of chaos. If they spray these crops like hops, wheat, grain, chickpeas, lentils, my favorite food, hummus. They spray it for harvest. They get the leaf dry, and so they all ripe at the same time, so they can have a big machine and harvest them very efficiently. It's really for efficiency, not increase the crop's nutritional value, improve the farmers, happiness or something. It's all sprayed for the convenience of large agriculture giant.
Yes.
Okay. So we want to support small agriculture for that reason. So that's number one. Vegans eat that. That's our food. Soy and corn are GMO Roundup ready. So they are being sprayed way more for growing and during the growing season. So
most people know that GMO is genetically modified organisms.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I just want to not cut you off, but we're putting things out that I want to make sure that most people know that now. But I want to say it because a lot of people are listening to the show. Some will be watching the show. So I just want to make that clear.
Yes. So most people know no GMO. So if they go to a health food store, they like that no GMO label.
Yes.
But what I want to warn people is if you go to buy the bread or hummus or any kind of thing that made from lentil, you want to make sure it's USDA organic. Because if it's just no GMO, it doesn't protect you from glyphosate being sprayed on it. Because lentils are not GMO anyway. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So lentils, wheat, hops, beer. People love beer. Beer is sprayed with glyphosate, even though beer is now GMO. Do you see the confusion right now?
Yes.
GMO is definitely in question. But what's sprayed on GMO is known to be a carcinogen. So we have to make sure we look for the USDA organic label, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I do think GMO label is important, but realizing the beer, thank you so much, Tony. Tony found this slide, found the beer.
Wonderful. We want the world to see all of this because of the fact that, you know, when you're looking at things and see it, it's even better than you're hearing it too. So if you're listening to the show, please go to our YouTube channel, to New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee, our YouTube channel, and you will see a lot of this as well, which is really powerful to see it, but it's also great to hear it as well. But I just want to say that with all of this happening, and again, I want to just repeat that because it's so powerful. Even though you see a label that says GMO free, it does not mean that it's not contaminated with glyphosate.
Yep.
So it should read USDA. Correct? USDA. Organic. Yep. There we go. USDA organic. Thank you so much. There it is. Okay, so watch your labels, everyone. You know, we have to really educate ourselves, our family, and really tune in to what we're doing and what we're putting in our body and our family's body. And unfortunately, eating out, we don't know what we're getting a lot, and I have to watch it because I like to eat out a lot. So I just want people to be aware. Thank you. Let you go ahead. Okay.
So one of the things I want to share with you guys is about opiate epidemic. Can you guys see this slide?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Tony. So what we have seen is a drastic increase in musculoskeletal pain in the past 20 years, and also mental disorder, such as depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, autism. What we are seeing, this drastic increase right here, is related to the drastic increase of use of glyphosate, not only in the United States, but also in the world today. Okay, so I want you to connect the dot. That's when glyphosate is incorporated into the glycine, and collagen and myosin are 80% glycine made. So just imagine you are assembling, let's say you are making a house and you have all these different bricks. That's your collagen, your muscle.
Yes.
Suddenly the bricks are not the real brick. They are horrible, foreign ghost mold brick. So these bricks don't hold very well. So they become dysfunctional. Recently, I spoke to an orthopedic surgeon. He told me about a recent operation he did on a knee of a 20 years old. He said the meniscus is so brittle. The kid is overweight and also have the boys are growing man boobs. At the same time, the joints are so brittle, it falls apart.
Oh my.
And he suspects that collagen in the meniscus is completely discomposed because of the glycine are no longer there. They're being replaced by glyphosate. So that's one thing. The other thing about the mental illness, mental illness has much bigger impact on people than high blood pressure, right? To a community.
Yes.
If people become extremely negative, depressed, anxious, they affect people around them much bigger, right? So that's one thing I really want to emphasize on the neuroinflammatory effect of the agriculture neurotoxins. Because when people are toxic, they no longer become a intelligent, emotional, intact person. They're emotionally into the chaotic zone. Mm-hmm. And recently, yesterday, actually, I had a little party with 2 police officers, and they actually talk about their young police officers. They said, just recently in their group, 10 couples went through divorce. And these are young couples. They're not that old. And they haven't been married for very long. And because of the neuroinflammatory condition they're suffering every day, the woman oftentimes will be the first to say, I'm getting out of here, right? So we actually have a name for that. It's called a runaway wife syndrome. is
Okay.
when they cannot
Okay.
deal anymore with the neurotoxicity, anxiety, depression they're dealing with. You know, of course, they always say, leave me alone. I need to get out of here.
Yes.
But the problem is we're pack animals. People are feeling much better when they're together.
Yes.
And you have all the marriage counseling, you know, psychiatric counseling. If you don't talk about neurotoxicity, the improvement
Yes.
of all treatment will be temporary. It's non-sustainable, and the reoccurrence is devastating. So I just want to, you know, call out for mental health workers to come together and measure people's glyphosate level and neurotoxin level, such as 2,4-D, Agent Orange, those plastics, you know, the styrene, the vinyl chloride. Measure those, because those are making your client have neuroinflammation. So again, mental health is directly related to neurotoxins.
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, that is such a lot in a nutshell. I mean, what you covered today is just, it's, I don't think anyone's covering this. So, you know, I am so happy that we have actually included that with our lab panel too. So we will be doing, we had started, then we had stopped, and we'll be back with Great Plains Laboratory again to do the same testing, because when you know better, we do better. That's the whole thing. And that's why I want to make sure that my whole motto is we test, we don't guess. We definitely test. We test and not guess on every level, so we know what's going on. So I am so happy that there is a company out there that can test. Then we can go to the source and trying to turn things around to get people healed. Now that we know that we have this going on in our body, what is the next step? We just don't want to show all the gloom of what's happening and what you put in your body as you eat. Now what are we going to do to eliminate this so that you can heal? So I'm going to let you take it from there.
Absolutely. So Dr. Cherilyn Lee, I think making toxins visible have two meanings. Number one, very empowering.
Yes.
Number two, we can become one again. Because I think when communities are separated, people become suspicious, is when we can look at the toxicity together and we can get rid of it together. We need to empower our patients. Okay.
Yes.
So let's just take a quick look here. How do we test people? Okay.
Yes.
So the first is I'm going to go through a table. I want people to just take a picture. Okay. So this is all my slide. I actually did this in the webinar. I can send it to you, Dr.
Oh, wonderful.
Lee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So there. So we are calling to take action. One of them is test individual. One of them is join non-toxic communities.com. They're a wonderful group of women helping community to become non-toxic.
Yes.
Just quite quickly, Los Angeles County already decided not to allow Roundup spray in cities, parks, and schools. So thank you for Los Angeles County, party members to make this wonderful decision.
That's horrible. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to really learn from you guys, right? So now, this is a test that so far is available for glyphosate. One of them is called the Great Plains Laboratory. They measure your urine excretion of glyphosate. So keep that in mind. They don't just test glyphosate, they also test mold toxins.
Yes, they do. Yes.
The chemical toxins. Okay.
Can I just say this? I know, but there's an associate. He is going to be coming on the show. He is a doctor himself. And the long story short is that his mother ended up with brain cancer. And come to find out, he kept wondering why his mom, first of all, started having some problems neurologically. And you never guess where this mold came from that caused her brain cancer. You would never guess. This lady was, a senior citizen, and she had kept the same pillow for years. This doctor wouldn't have the pillow tested, and it had a mole in it that caused her brain cancer. Can you believe this?
Oh my God. I think it's probably mold together with EMF and glyphosate.
She had the pillow for years. Years. You know, some people don't throw things away and they'll just change the pillowcase and say, okay, I'll just keep it. And that's what happened. And I don't know if it had feathers or whatever in it because it's one of those old pillows. But he took it apart, took it to the lab, and found out it was mold in the pillow. And this is what caused her brain cancer.
Got you. Yeah, mold toxins are actually becoming more and more common.
Yes.
I do feel there is a disturbance in the microbiomes of our ecosystem. Because our microbiomes, you know, are a big group of community, you know, invisible community, but they have friendly bacteria controlling viruses, candida, fungus, and parasites. But they are a community. You can't just kill off the one and considering the balance. I think our nature has such a beautiful balance for us. And because of antibiotic use and also glyphosate is another antibiotic, is we become disturbed. We're disturbing the ecosystem that's regulating everything. And then I think that's another reason I said, you know, test yourself. Detoxproject.org actually does not require practitioner to sign the test. This is the only test you can actually get it in New York State. The state of New York actually cannot test the Great Plains Lab for some reason. But if you go to detoxproject.org, you can send in your home water, you can send your hair, samples. They actually have been doing international work. People from China can also send in their hair sample to be tested. Okay. Yesterday, I spoke to a cardiologist regarding heavy metal toxicity assessment. He said, Dr. Lu, people do urine, hair, blood. The ideal way is to measure 3 different compartments for neurotoxicities.
Yes.
Because sometimes you just measure urine. What about these people don't excrete? Then you can't really see it, right?
Yes.
So the hair give you a different compartment. This is urine compartment. This is hair. Some people recommend blood. Blood is not really a great source for testing for heavy metal because heavy metal and glyphosate are actually very concentrated in the bone marrow. So once in the bone marrow, it gets stuck. So it's hard to actually test them for heavy metal and also glyphosate, some people.
Right.
Okay. So just want to mention every single test has certain specificity and sensitivity. So
exactly, for measuring, yes.
Yeah. So this is our testing everybody can do. Okay. Genetic inquiries. Again, there's so many genetic companies. I do think it's important because it helps us reveal the past and plan the future. So those are important things we can help us.
And then we can deal with the genetics, and we hear a lot about epigenetics. And this is where you can then turn things around through epigenetics when you know the genetics.
That's right.
Exactly.
So, this is the area you're right on, because our genes are basically bombarded on a collusion course with the environment. So which one is easier to control is actually our environment.
Yeah.
If we can reduce the exposure and getting rid of the loaded body, the body can start to thrive again.
Yeah.
You see? Our body actually is not hopeless.
No, not at all.
Right? Our body is a magical biological machine.
Yes.
Once you just get rid of all the crap.
Get rid of it so it can start going back to its balance. It's all about balance. Get everything out so things can balance out. The microbiome would be balanced out. The colon, the gut-brain barrier. You won't have all these problems. I mean, look at me. I've been in 2 comas and I've had a whole lot of things. So you can imagine when I was in a coma, the medication they gave me and what I went through for that whole month being in ICU. But look, I'm still here and things are still balanced and feeling great. and a grandmother of 10. So, you know,
Yep.
it's looking good, feeling good, and being healthy is important. And taking things into the body things that we don't know. This is why I think we bless our food and pray over it. So things that so nothing really harms us. We don't know what's in our food half the time and what they're doing to our crop, but we know that God is in control as well. We do know God is in control, and praying over your food and it will help safeguard it, I feel. And that's my part of my belief. But I'm still here, and I'm still not aging and looking ill, considering what my body's been through for 67 years.
You know, I totally agree with you. I think the first thing is believe you are powerful.
Yes.
When you are connected with the divine. And
yes.
I don't, people have different religious beliefs.
Yes,
but
yes.
Spiritually, we're all one.
Yes, we are.
Believe you are loved. You are cherished. Everybody is in this part of journey together, and life is not permanent, right? We need to see that. We need to see beyond the challenge. I think everything happened today for a reason.
Yes.
Is to raise the human consciousness.
Yes, indeed.
Because humanity as a species, we have been way too selfish. And we are seeing the consequence of being in separation, a separation from animals, separation from the planet is causing humanity to have lots of diseases.
Yes, even the earth itself. Nobody goes out and do grounding. Look at our ground. I mean, they're tearing up everything and building up high rise, and what's happening to our planet itself,
Yep. So I think the thing I look at this entire chaotic moment is I feel it's a necessity for our spiritual growth. And if we are unwilling to grow, we just have to go through the suffering and come back and do it again, right? So it's just a matter of your timing. I don't really push everybody to do whatever I do. I do think if the timing is right, Dr. Lee, people will come together and start to discover love, power within, not power without, right?
Yes.
Power within. And I think that's, what as a physician, I really want to help people from the physiology and biochemistry perspective to learn about getting rid of the toxins. And because a lot of people, I recently saw a patient with ALS, he has done lots of IV chelation, tons of, external work. But one thing, elimination like colonics and sauna, they're all wonderful. But there must be a systemic approach to toxins. Toxins inherited in the cell, and such as glycine, is being replaced by glyphosate. That's inside the cell wall, inside the organs, the organelles in the cell. So we need to make sure the cellular detox is addressed.
Exactly.
Heavy metal tend to be stuck in the cell also. So sweating can get rid of the interstitial level, and we are hoping, with time, the toxin will come out of the cell. But cellular detox need to be an active step.
Exactly. Now, not to cut you off, because you and we have sat down and talked for hours and hours. I think we spoke one night, all night, until the next day almost. But I want to say that we're almost running out of time. And I want you to take a good minute and sum up. What do you want our listeners to leave here with? A powerful impact. The whole show was very powerful, but you have a minute to kind of sum up some things really quick here.
Yes. Now, can you see this slide?
Yes.
Okay. I want everybody to take a picture of this slide. Okay. This slide is not for heavy metal. This is just about glyphosate. One of them, I want people to know the detox steps have two. One of them is called the processing, or called detox. We get the toxin out of the cell, move through the liver, and get to the bowel, to the kidney, to the skin. And then the second step is called elimination. A lot of people are confused with the two-step approach.
Yes.
Not only elimination, but also detoxification. Now, when you are going through detox, you need to have a good sleep. People are stressed out, cannot detox very well.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through somebody don't sleep well, they just go through detox? They actually need sleep support.
Yes, they do.
And then the second step is cellular detox. I love calcium D-glucarate. It's a nutrient that's produced by the liver. We produce about 200 milligram a day normally in the pre-industrial age. But in industrial age, we need higher dose. 3,000 milligrams is estimated to be an adequate dose for the beginners. Mm-hmm. Now, people say, can I get it from food? Glucarate is actually naturally occurring in Brussels sprouts, in broccoli, in many of the cruciferous vegetables.
With some other things there that are very good.
A lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
You have to eat a lot. So a supplement will be important at this phase.
Yeah.
At the phase. Now, phase 1, phase 2, we talk about nutritional support.
Right.
You know, fasting. Again, a lot of people say, is fasting a good detox?
And not to cut you off, but I've been given a notice that we are running out of town.
Okay.
We're not being run out of town. We're just running out of time. So I want you to, I don't know how many more you have there, but just in like 15 seconds, if you could just not go through the whole detail. We know about phase 1, phase 2, liver detox. And if people have any questions, please go to the YouTube channel, leave the questions there at New Wellness TV, newwellnesstv.com, New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee on the YouTube channel. Please leave your comments there, and Dr. Lee or Dr. You or myself will get back with you to answer those questions. It's very important that the questions be answered. And we will be putting some other information there on the YouTube channel with some links. So we will set that up for you because we are definitely running out of time. I am going to be bringing Dr. Lu back again because we have many more topics that we want to address because there's too many people that are too ill today that we want. The toxins, we are sick within ourselves, but are we sick within ourselves from what's going on within ourselves, or is it our surroundings that are making you sick? Is it your home that's making you sick? You know, there's so many things around us and our external that's making our internal very ill. So I want to make sure that I bring you back, Dr. Lu, and I just thank you so much for being here today. But I know we are out of time, and I am just internally grateful that you're here. And bless you, and I will be calling you because next month, I'm going to have you on next month, okay?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
Next month. And then we're going to cover some of the treatment plans sooner so people can hear it. But we will have them listed on our YouTube channel. So please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe and like us, and tune in every Wednesday live. And if you miss us live, really share this show with other people because a lot of people are watching live on Facebook. I want to thank you again for tuning in, and have a blessed day. As I always end my show, repeat after me. Repeat, repeat, because it's powerful. I am so grateful.
So grateful.
That I am
a
magnet
for
miracles.
And
today I'm blessed to have my granddaughter Isis here in the studio with me. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Come over here behind me so people can see you. She looked like a mini me. And so does her mom. So hold down there so they can see. Look at my beautiful grandbaby.
She's so beautiful. She's going to help the world.
She was in the studio with you last time. So thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, Isis, for being here. Everyone, have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Until next week.
Join us every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. for New Wellness TV with Dr. Lee. Remember, healthy mind, healthy body.